going on, everybody? Got Dustin here with DFS Dads, and I'm going to be bringing you a couple QBs, wide receivers, running backs, and a tight end that we like for week 7 of the NFL DFS season. Crazy that we're already in week 7, but if you haven't, please go like us on our socials, the DFS Dads. Check out our website, dfsdads.com. Always giving out free content, some showdown plays throughout the week. PGA golf, we got NBA firing up again with Timmy over there giving us great picks. Baseball winding down, but still playing that as well. So come check us out, make some money, have some fun. All right, so week 7, the top quarterback for me is Patrick Mahomes. Scores the most points per week on average. People want to call out his struggles and stuff. He had two interceptions last week. One of them really wasn't his fault. Scoring 28.6 points per week on DK. Threw for over 400 yards. No CEH there. He's just, they're going to throw a lot. Williams had 2 rushing touchdowns last week. I don't think we'll see that happen again. Mahomes easily could have had a huge game. So I like him against Tennessee. Kansas City can't stop anybody. Tennessee obviously has a prolific run game. They got some big receivers over there. A.J. Brown, Julio. Projected over-unders like 57. So a lot of points to be scored. For me in cash games, it's almost impossible to pass up Mahomes this week. Love him. A quarterback I like that's a little cheaper, actually having a really good season, is Matt Ryan. He's pretty cheap on DraftKings, 5,700. He's thrown 3 picks on the season, but that all came against Tampa Bay. He's got 10 touchdowns since then. Through over 300 yards last week. He gets Ridley back. Ridley didn't travel to Europe to play in that game, so Ridley should be ready to go. You have Patterson, who's dynamic out of the backfield. Mike Davis, another good run or pass catching running back. And then you got Pitts, the tight end there, the rookie that's come alive. So they have a ton of weapons to use on offense. He seems to be playing well. Had over 70% completion percentage. And they get Miami, who's a bottom tier pass defense. They are, they've given up 292 yards on average per week. Just gave up 319 last week to the Jags. Matty Ice is great. I like him in a GPP. But you can even use him in cash. He's been very solid if you want to try to save salary. All right, moving on to running backs. Obviously, Derrick Henry's my top guy. Kansas City's bottom tier rush defense can't stop anybody. They give up 133 yards per game. Henry is on a tear. Obviously, prime time had a great game. Leads the league in rushing. Pretty much every rushing metric out there. Carries, yards. And he's getting some targets. He gets three per game, so that helps. And he has 10 touchdowns. So, kind of a no-brainer there. It's a huge over-under. Obviously, it's going to be hard to fit him into lineups, but I think you can save money elsewhere. We'll talk about that wide receiver, tight end type positions where you can go lower. Another running back I really like is Darrell Henderson going up against the Lions. Got the most carries he's got all year. Last week, 21. He's been around 16, 17 fantasy points per week. Exploded for 24. Caught a 24-yard touchdown. So showing off that dynamic ability. And he's RB1 there as long as he's healthy. They should be up big favorites in that game. So I see him getting a lot of run down the stretch. And he's just produced all year long. So I like him in that spot. Another guy actually on the run back, Deandre Swift, who obviously got Jamal Williams there, but not as big of a factor. He's been banged up. Got season low in carries and targets last week. But his snap share, talking about Swift here, around 70+% the last 3 weeks. He's number 2 in targets of all running backs, getting 7 per game. They are one of the most pass-heavy teams in the league. They're going to be trailing. Rams' offense is dynamic and is going to score. So they'll be trailing, throwing a lot. So, it's one of those games where Swift could have 9-10 catches, and 10 carries for 50 yards. So like him more here for the receiving ability, but, he like I said, he leads the league for running backs in receptions, second in targets. So that's the part of the game that they're using him. And, he's had the groin questionable tag all year long, but hasn't hindered him one bit. So I love Swift. He's going to get a ton of volume in the passing game, especially with them being down. So moving on to wide receivers. Like I said earlier, I like Matty Ice. Well, I like his top wide receiver. Calvin Ridley has a great matchup, PFF rating, one of the top on the slate. Let me see. Yeah, almost 80% against all cornerbacks. Slotted to see 60 projected snaps, offensive plays basically, which is top tier as well. He's gotten 10+ targets last three outings. Like I said, he didn't play last week, and then they had a bye. So he's got 10, 11, 13 over his last 3 games. A lot of red zone targets. He's got 8, which is tied for 7th among wide receivers with the missed game. So they look for him down there, 26.4 target rate. Target share is 27.6. So, he's a volume hog, and he's going to have a big game sooner rather than later. Matty Ice, 74% completion percentage last week. So pretty accurate. So I really like that. You get him at a value here on DraftKings. He is 6,600. So yeah, for a guy of his caliber, I think you can click him easily. Top guy on the slate for me is Tyreek Hill. Obviously I love Mahomes, Henry, and Hill. You really can't fit them all, but you got to pick your poison somewhere. Hill has been a target monster the last 3 weeks. He has, let me see here, 12, 13, and 12 targets for a guy like him. That's awesome. That's what you want to see. Obviously, super explosive. Number 1 in receptions of all wide receivers, which, in the past, he hasn't seen as much volume, but obviously the big playability. So love him, especially in a high scoring game to break one off. So if you can fit him in there with Mahomes, this isn't a stack video, but I just think Hill is going to be very good this week. And he has one of the top ratings. I think he might have the top 4. He's like 87 overall defenders. Like I said, he's gonna have a good game. It's just a matter if you can fit him in your lineup, because you also have Devontae Adams you can go up top too. A cheap guy, like I said, if you fit some of these studs, especially in a double up type game, you're gonna need some cheap guys. A guy I like this week is Rashad Bateman, the rookie first rounder, chosen by the Baltimore Ravens. First week back last week, he had 6 targets, 4 catches, 29 yards. Didn't jump off the chart for you, but the 6 targets a welcome sight, especially for his first game. I think he tied Andrews as far as targets with team lead. Sammy Watkins banged up. Marquise Brown's having a great year, so he should get majority of the coverage from the defense. And then you have him roaming, being able to catch a lot of passes. Only 3,400, I believe, on DraftKings here. Let me double check that. Yeah, 3,400. Early on, looks like his projected ownership is going to be fairly high, 13% last time I looked. Obviously, it's early in the week, but definitely a cheap guy you can get that should have a decent floor given where he was chosen as far as the first round and his usage in the first game. And then also, that game could turn into a scoring fest. You got the Bengals, obviously pretty potent offensively with their weapons, and then Baltimore, can score with the best of them. Last I'm going to go over is tight end, and we had Ertz depart from Philadelphia, and I like the guy that stayed, Dallas Goedert. Kind of been up and down. He hasn't had a ton of volume, but going up against the Raiders this week, they are bottom 4 in points allowed to tight ends. You got Goedert, who should get all the volume now, so kind of pick up Ertz. Obviously, I don't think he'll get all the targets that Ertz vacated, but he should get at least half of them. So, he's averaging, about 4 targets a game. So I like him in the 6 to 7 range now. And then, like I said, Vegas Raiders are bottom 4 in points allowed to tight ends. Barely better than the Chiefs, who Goedert had his best game against, went 5 receptions, touchdown, 56 yards. So I kind of see him getting even more, maybe 8 targets, especially with the coverage there against the tight end. All right, guys, come check us out. DFS Dads. Those are my top plays of the week, if you will, and obviously some value there with Bateman and Goedert. So come check us out. Have some fun. We hit big last week. Our single entry cores and our cash cores both smashed it. Come check us out. DFS Dads.